Welcome to Maximize, the show for entrepreneurs who want to develop their mindset, marketing, and message so that they can maximize their business and life. And now, your host, entrepreneur, strategist, and best-selling author, Evelio Silvera.
Hello and welcome to the very first episode of Maximize. My name is Evelio Silvera. I'm your host, and I am thrilled that you've chosen to be here on this very first maiden voyage, if you will, on the Maximize show. You know, I want to share with you in this first episode a little bit about what you can expect from this program and why I even am taking the time to put this together. And I do want to give you some actionable tips and really encourage you, because so much so right now in the environment of being an entrepreneur, it feels like we're bombarded with messages that say we've got to work 80 hours a week and we've got to grind this and we'll get instant celebrity status there and we'll just go viral with that. And all of that noise, we've missed the real foundations of understanding the right mindset to have, the right marketing to do, the way to structure the business, the way to share your message. And it's with that in mind of why I put together Maximize. It really was the idea of kind of cutting through all of the clutter and the mixed messages that are out there and just share from my experience, from my clients, from those that I'm seeing that are doing so well, the things that are actually worked to create a holistic entrepreneur who is set up to have the right work-life balance, the right mindset, and the right plan to be able to achieve the success as they define it in their business and in their life and in their relationships. And I know that sounds like a really tall order, but we will attempt to really deliver on that episode to episode. And those are the three calling cards. Those are the three areas that I want to spend some time working on developing with you. That's your mindset, your marketing, and your message. And you're probably wondering, hey, that all sounds really good, Evelio, but I don't know who you are. Any schlub can throw up a podcast and a website. It doesn't mean I should listen to you. Well, I hope you do get a chance to visit my website, evelio.co or eveliosilvera.com, and you can read more about my bio. I will mercifully tell you a little bit about myself. I'm in business development and in messaging strategy, and have the opportunity of working with small companies, with startups, with publicly traded companies on doing things like putting together their sales and follow-up services, who they communicate to, who their ideal client is, how they follow up with that, creating a funnel or a step-by-step that takes someone from being someone cold that's never heard about a service or an entity or a company or an investment, and then becomes a client and an advocate for that business or for that company or for that individual. I've had the opportunity of working with a lot of different political candidates and issues, and how to take someone's message and make it resonate with large groups of people that are able then to support that person and create a movement when it could just be a simple election, right? Not getting caught up in personality, but really striking at core issues and knowing how to message and connect with people. And in that, 10, 15 years of professional experience, I've helped clients become best-selling authors. I've helped businesses increase their sales, their lead generation, their lead flow. And there's a lot of little things along the way that I've learned. And look, I've succeeded as much as I've failed. I'm blessed that I've won accolades nationally and internationally for being a speaker and a speechwriter, that I've been recognized by the United States House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate for my speaking and speech writing, and that I've been recognized in my local community and by my chambers with different awards like 40 Under 40 and just having an impact on the community. And in all of that, and all those accolades, it really has been striving to understand how to be a true success, how to maximize my God-given potential and talent to have an impact on those around me. Not just it's an impact at the bottom line and an impact about money, but to actually leave a legacy, to have change, to really have it all. And in doing that, I've spent tens of thousands of dollars on personal development, on training, on certification, on just pure motivation. And in all that, I've really understood that there's a lot of things out there that we hear that seem to work and a lot of things that don't. And having a place where you can come and not feel like you've got to mask who you are, not feel like you've got to be a cookie cutter like somebody else, that you can actually be yourself, develop who you are, develop your brand, whether you work in a small business setting, or you own a business, or you're in a corporate setting, or you're under the strict lights of a big company or big endeavor. It's important of understanding who you are. And that is your brand. And who are you going to be? And how are you going to impact? And how are you going to stop being a cookie cutter like somebody else? Not the next so-and-so, but the only you that there is. And those are the topics, and those are the areas that, after dealing with so many different clients, and just talking to friends and folks at my Rotary Club or at church, or, just random connections, professional connections made on LinkedIn, it's funny how many of the same types of issues and topics keep coming up. And I thought to myself, there's nothing wrong with sharing my personal journey as I unpack these things and have the opportunity to share the journeys of other entrepreneurs, of other leaders, and how they are getting to the place of really having an impact on mastering their mindset, their marketing, and their message. And so that's what Maximize is all about. And it really is about growing, about constantly growing, maximizing your growth, filling your full potential. There's a quotation I want to share with you from J.C. Penney. This is not from the store catalog, from the actual James Cash Penney. He says, "Growth is never by mere chance. It is the result of forces working together." That means if we're going to grow, personally and professionally, there are several forces that have to come together. Those are the forces that we call mindset, marketing, and message. It really is how you view yourself in the world, how you position yourself, and how you communicate to others. That's what we mean by mindset, marketing, and message. And so this show, this podcast is something that I venture to put together on a weekly basis, where you can expect quick, actionable information, stuff that you can actually take, and immediately after you're done listening to an episode, you can actually apply, and you can see results, and you can give feedback, and we can help each other, and we can create a community that we're all striving to maximize our potential, to maximize our growth, and to really have the impact that we were created to have and those around us. And so 6 to 10 minutes are each episode. They can cover a couple of different topics, but typically, I want to just dig in and pick something about mindset, or something about marketing, or something about message, and share with you everything from what's working on Facebook and LinkedIn, and how to attract Instagram influencers, to creating a sales funnel, to increasing your customer service, to finding investors for your business, to hiring your first employees, everything to tapping into getting over failure, to being able to develop to have a personal development plan, to understand the balance of your health, time management, and then being persuasive, connecting with people, networking with others, being able to find the strengths in others to overcome your weaknesses. These topics go beyond just running a business and generating leads. But the funny thing is that if you apply them, you're going to find yourself happier. You're going to find yourself with the right kind of balance. You're going to find yourself invested into relationships in your life, whether they're professional or personal. You're going to find more leads. You're going to see growth of the bottom line of your endeavors, because these are the elements that I have applied through trial and error to a variety of different endeavors where I've seen success. And when I've ignored certain things is where I've been hit with failure, where I've come up short of where I need to be. And so really my heart in this podcast is to create a community and a conversation where we can go beyond the noise and we can really talk about actionable things. We can really talk about impactful things. And you can come away with the feeling that if you apply to yourself and to your situation some of these actionable tips, that you can start to develop in those key areas. And listen, I'd be remiss if we had a first episode and I didn't start by providing some value. So I want to talk to you today. Our first real topic is how to realize your true potential. Those forces working together that J.C. Penney talked about is going to be for naught if you don't realize that you have an incredible potential and that you have strengths and you have talents and abilities, God-given and unique, that have to be. You have a responsibility to realize that potential and use it to impact those around you, your family, your friends, your community, your state, your nation, the world. And so I just want to share with you that being a successful entrepreneur, being a successful adult, really, it means taking responsibility for the things that happen in our life. And that's the first perspective that we need to have, is understanding our role, that things don't happen to us, they happen for us. And that's including the bad stuff, really. You know, often I find that I fall short, and I've fallen short because I wasn't able to see myself for who I truly am. I really believe that's something, as I interact with others, that is commonplace. We fall short because we can't see ourselves for who we truly are. And we don't see our own true potential. We're sometimes our own worst critics. And when we do realize how powerful we are, that realization and that light bulb goes off, then we can really lead impactful and meaningful lives. So right now, I want to share with you 5 different areas, 5 different things that you can do to lead a happier, healthier, and more powerful life so that you can actually realize your fullest and true potential. First, you got to learn to say no. That will become the most powerful word in your vocabulary, is no. And you know, when I think about this issue, I think about the movie with Jim Carrey, Yes Man. You know, he had to, you know, basically he is hilariously always saying yes, always doing whatever he's asked. And it does bring about some positive change in that character's life, but in real life, let's get down to it. Being a yes man or a yes woman, saying yes too much, is exhausting. It can be exhausting because so many people are looking to please others. They're people pleasers. They struggle to say no. You don't want to disappoint other people. Yet, you're constantly disappointing the most important person in your life, and that's you. Saying no when you don't have time is okay. Saying no because you just don't want to is also okay. It's time that you learn how to respect yourself and your time and to put a priority on it, because you're just as valuable as anyone else. And that really is the key here. So many times we don't say no because we don't have an idea of our own self-worth. We're not putting a value on ourselves and on our time and respecting ourselves and our time. Ed and Deb Shapiro, authors of Be the Change, and they've written often at Huffington Post, they say this: saying no is not being selfish. It's actually the least selfish thing you can do, because saying yes to yourself ends up being the most important thing that you can do. So learn to say no. Next, learn from your mistakes. Now, mistakes are just that. Mistakes. It's just being off. It's something that didn't turn out the way that we might have originally thought. In other words, it's just a wrong turn. It's just not arriving at the place where we thought we would, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that you are a failure. And this is the separation that needs to take place. And I fall victim to this, because so often when you're a hard-charging, high-achieving kind of person, when you're succeeding in whatever field that is, what you find is you're harder on yourself than anyone else. I know I am. It's just so hard on myself. And it's sometimes very, very difficult to separate the failure or an event or a goal or something just coming up short versus being a failure. And the two things are totally different. Not succeeding, not getting exactly where you wanted, not getting exactly how you wanted it to go, not everything spelling out the way that you visualize it would go, doesn't mean that you are in essence a failure. Sergey Brin, the co-founder of Google, says it this way: the only way you're going to have success is to have lots of failures first. Failure is going to happen. It doesn't define who you are. Truly, failure only occurs when you don't even make an attempt, when you don't try, when you have paralysis of analysis. See, when we learn from our mistakes, that's when we can grow as entrepreneurs, heck, as just humans, and figure out why it didn't go our way. Or we have a choice. We can just blame everyone else and wonder why life doesn't seem so great and why we're not where we need to be. We have that choice. And you can take a look at what happened and figure out why it didn't go your way. Or you can just realize that there is something that you can take away from that opportunity. It doesn't define who you are, but it's a clue to get to the next step. See, so often we're looking for perfection and we become perfectionist. And we don't start or continue something because it's not just perfect. Well, there's no such thing as perfection. We are humans. We all make mistakes. It's how we handle and correct our mistakes. That's what sets us apart from others. So first, learn to say no. Second, learn from your mistakes. Third, realize that success never happens overnight. I'm sure you've listened to other podcasts, you've read other articles, you hear those stories about the powerful CEO, the famous person who's celebrating for being the overnight success story. And it's hard not to hear those stories and feel like there's something wrong with you. But let me let you in a little secret. The overnight success story is a myth. What they didn't share in that article were the months, years, even decades of blood, sweat, and tears that person put into becoming the overnight success. It's like an iceberg. We see just the tip of it that comes out over the water, but we don't see how much is under the water and underseen. It's like, a small plant that may look like it's sprouting up, and we don't see all of what's going on underground and that took time to develop and get there. Malcolm Gladwell, best-selling author of the book Outlier, says this: it takes most people at least 10,000 hours to reach their true potential. 10,000 hours. That's not overnight. That's not instantaneous. And so often there is a story that comes up and you're like, oh, such and such went viral or such and such went big. But I'm telling you, that true success, lasting success, famous people like the Beatles, Bill Gates, a bunch of folks, it happened thousands of hours of work, blood, sweat, and tears. Because you've got to realize that success really is a journey and a process. It's not an event. It's not a happening. It means continuing to get up each and every day, intent on making that day the best day you possibly can. It means growing, learning, and not allowing setbacks to stop you. So we realize our true potential by learning to say no, learning from our mistakes, understanding that success never happens overnight, and then figuring out your true potential by identifying your strengths and your weaknesses. Self-awareness is a key element to figuring out your potential in life, which means taking a long look at your strengths and your weaknesses. It's just as important to know what you like doing as it is to know what you don't like doing. And as for weaknesses, let me share something with you. A lot of times, those weaknesses can be turned into strengths. Perhaps listening isn't a skill you think you possess. Learning to listen well, or more effectively, is a skill that you can actually develop. Or perhaps you believe your vulnerability is a weakness. Let me tell you, that is absolutely not. But sharing your story with others can help them feel as though they aren't alone. It makes you human and allows you to connect. It actually is one of the most persuasive forms of communication that we can do, because you're letting someone in and you're sharing something that creates an intimacy. According to the Geek Gap author, Melinda Zatlin, she says that you need to look for ways to serve others with a similar weakness. That by doing that, we know how to work within our weaknesses and we capitalize on our strengths. The key to all of this is never stop learning about yourself. It will help you to become a better person. And finally, how you realize your true potential is first by learning to say no, then learning from your mistakes, recognizing that success never happens overnight, figuring out your true potential by identifying your strengths and your weaknesses, and finally, lastly but not least, learning from others. It's helpful to know that you aren't alone in your journey. Often hearing other people share their stories helps you to learn and to grow. And that really is my heart behind this Maximize podcast. Hopefully that you can hear from others. We can offer you an insightfulness and a wisdom to inspire you to become even greater, to develop in the areas of mindset, marketing, and message, so that you can maximize your growth and your impact on everyone around you. We don't always talk about something that's personal development, but I wanted this to be the first topic to cover because it's so important. We can talk about all the tactics in the world and the latest and greatest SEO hack or social media this or email marketing that or effective direct mail this or how to be really great speaker, and all of those things are worthwhile topics that we're going to cover in depth. But if you don't understand the potential that you have, recognize those strengths and weaknesses, and begin to grow and apply yourself in new and bigger ways, then there's no hack or trick or little shortcut that anyone can show you to really help you maximize your success. And that's why it's important that we start here. Mindset is something that is so critical. And so often I've been in a place where, I've gotten all this great information and I have set myself up to fail by the way that I have mentally and emotionally approached a project. And it's caused me twice as much work and twice as much effort as it would have if I didn't already go in with the right perspective and the right mindset. And it's just so critical. And it's at the heart of the things that we hope to do together here on the Maximize podcast. I just want to thank you for tuning into this first episode. A little bit longer than some of the future episodes. And we'll put out a handful here just so that you get a feel for some of the different insights that we're going to be sharing. And about once a month, maybe a little bit more, maybe less, I'll bring someone on that will share from their experience that you can, relate to and adapt what has worked and what hasn't worked for them. And this journey together, I want you to share with me what you get out of these individual episodes. We'll have a transcript and show notes available as a PDF download in each episode page. And you can visit that by going to eveliosilvera.com/podcast. That's EVELIOSILVERA.com/podcast. Or, as my way of saying thank you, you can get noticed every time a new episode comes out with a link to that episode, the audio, and the downloadable notes and transcripts and any other resources that we have in that individual episode by signing up for our newsletter at evelio.co, EVELIO.co. And there's the homepage of my blog. And as my way of saying thank you for signing up for our list and for notifications so you never miss anything here at Maximize, I'm going to give you my Your Story, Your Brand workbook. It's how you can take 6 quick and easy steps to embrace your unique story to create a one-of-a-kind, profitable business. If you know who you are, the value that you bring, and how to communicate that, then your story becomes your brand, which becomes your profitable business. And I want to give you this workbook absolutely free when you go to evelio.co, EVELIO.co. Sign up for the list. Always get notified of all the episodes. I want to thank you for tuning in today. Thank you so much. There's so much that you can do with your time and the podcast and the information that you decide to put on your phone, to listen in your headphones, to listen in your car. And I am honored and blessed that you would take just a moment out of your day, a moment out of your life, and invest it together with me. I want to thank you again. Please visit the website evelio.co to sign up, get the Your Story, Your Brand workbook, and I'll see you on the next episode of Maximize.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Maximize. For more information and to get the resources mentioned in this episode, visit www.eveliosilvera.com/podcast.